Okay, so you want to own an indoor skydiving facility? Build a giant vertical wind tunnel? Charge people $90 for 2 minutes of floating on a cushion of air? And watch birthday parties line up around the block? Maybe you've been to one. Watched a first-timer get lifted off the net grinning like an idiot and thought, this is basically a machine that turns electricity into cash. It is not that simple. And by the time we're done here, you're going to understand exactly why. Let's start with what it actually costs to build. One of these things, because most people, when they think about an indoor skydiving facility, think about the tube and the fans. What they don't think about is the specialized aerospace acrylic that makes up the flight chamber walls, the enormous electrical infrastructure needed to power fans strong, enough to suspend a grown adult in mid-air, the recirculating airflow engineering that has to be tuned to the millimeter, the structural steel needed to support a wind column, running the height of a 4 or 5-story building, and the safety systems layered on top of all of it. A single state-of-the-art vertical wind tunnel, just the core flight equipment, can run anywhere from $800,000 to well over $1 million before you've built a single wall of the building around it. The company that actually built this entire industry, iFLY, was founded in 1998 and is headquartered in Austin, Texas. As of the most recent count, iFLY operates more than 80 locations worldwide. And here is the number that tells you everything about how this business really is. The total investment required to open a single iFLY franchise ranges from roughly $4.4 million to $12.25 million. Not the wind tunnel alone. The whole facility. For comparison, a mid-sized independent operator building a single tunnel facility in a metropolitan location is typically looking at somewhere between $2 million and $3 million all in. And even a small suburban operation, the cheapest version of this business you can realistically build, starts around $500,000 minimum. So why does a single tube of moving air cost this much? First, the tunnel itself. The flight chamber has to be built from specialized transparent panels that can withstand sustained wind, speeds of up to 275 kilometers an hour. That's the artificially capped maximum most operators use for safety, even though the equipment is technically capable of more. The airflow itself has to be recirculated through a closed-loop system, with massive fan assemblies at the top, or bottom, depending on the design, pushing air down through the chamber and back around continuously, getting that airflow perfectly smooth and vertical, with no turbulence that could destabilize a flyer, is a genuine engineering problem, not just a big fan in a tube. Then there's the electrical infrastructure. Fans powerful enough to suspend a 200-pound adult in a column of air. Do not run on a standard commercial power connection. Facilities often need dedicated high-voltage electrical service, sometimes requiring their own substation-level connection or significant utility upgrades just to get enough power to the building. And that infrastructure work alone can add hundreds of thousands of dollars to a project before construction on the tunnel even starts. And then there's the building itself. Because the tunnel runs the height of a 4 or 5-story structure, you can't just drop this into a typical strip mall unit. You need a purpose-built space with the ceiling, clearance to house the tunnel, and the fan assembly above or below it, structural reinforcement to handle the weight and vibration of the equipment, and enough surrounding square footage for the retail area, party rooms, locker rooms, viewing gallery, and the boring but expensive stuff like fire suppression systems rated for the specific risks of the facility. So by the time you cut the ribbon, before a single customer has zipped up a flight suit, you have spent somewhere between $500,000 for the smallest possible operation and well over $12 million for a large, multi-tunnel flagship location. And unlike a lot of businesses in this economics of owning series, this is not an industry where you can start small and scale organically. The wind tunnel is a fixed, enormous, largely indivisible capital expense from day one. Now, let's talk about how this actually gets paid for. Because almost nobody funds a $5 to $12 million entertainment facility out of pocket. If you're going the iFLY franchise route, the financial bar to even qualify is a filter in itself. iFLY requires franchisees to have a minimum net worth of $5 million and at least $1 million in liquid capital just to be considered. That is not a typical small business franchise threshold. That's closer to what you'd expect from a hotel or a car dealership franchise. And it exists specifically because the tunnel equipment and the specialized construction cannot be financed the way a normal retail build-out can. For financing the actual construction, iFLY facilities in the US are eligible for SBA-backed loans, which meaningfully lowers the cost of capital compared to a pure private construction loan. Since the government guarantee reduces the lender's risk, independent operators outside the franchise system typically financed through a mix of commercial construction loans, equipment leasing arrangements specifically for the wind tunnel hardware, since some manufacturers will lease rather than sell the tunnel outright, and private equity, especially as the industry is consolidated in recent years with larger operators building out multi-location portfolios rather than single, independent tunnels. Franchise fees add another layer on top of the physical build cost. A typical iFLY franchise fee runs around just for the right to use the brand. And then, critically, an ongoing royalty of 8% of gross sales, paid to the franchisor for the life of the agreement. That 8% comes off the top of every single dollar of revenue, whether the facility is having its best month ever or its worst, which matters enormously once we get to how thin the margins actually are on a bad month. All right, the tunnel is built. The financing is in place. Now you have to make enough money to justify all of it. Let's start with the obvious revenue stream: flight packages. A typical first-time flyer package, including the basic safety briefing, flight suit, helmet, and 1 or 2 minutes of actual tunnel time, runs somewhere between $70 and $100 per person in most US markets. Though pricing varies significantly by local market conditions, here's the number that surprises people. 1 minute of actual flight time in the tunnel, in some international markets, can retail for anywhere from about $5 to $35, depending on the country and the operator, meaning the raw flight time product itself is not actually expensive to deliver at scale. It's the packaging, the safety infrastructure, and the experience around it that the price tag is really paying for. A single tunnel, running at capacity, can cycle through roughly 26 core flyers an hour when operating on a standard flight rotation. Once you account for suiting up safety briefings and instructor demonstration time built into each session, multiply that by operating hours in a day, and a single well-utilized tunnel has real throughput potential. But here's the catch that catches almost every new operator off guard. Demand is brutally uneven across the week. Weekday afternoons can run nearly empty while weekend slots sell out weeks in advance. And unlike a restaurant that can adjust staffing hour by hour, a wind tunnel facility has fixed power and staffing costs. Whether there are 2 flyers or 26 in a given hour, this brings us to what actually generates the real margin in this business, and it is almost never the base flight package. Just like a stadium's luxury boxes or a cruise ship's drinks packages, the real money is in the add-ons. Birthday party packages, which bundle flight time with a private party room, food, and a dedicated party host, often carry per-person pricing well above the base flight rate. And because they're typically booked for groups of 10 to 20 people on a fixed package, they deliver predictable, high-value bookings that fill exactly the off-peak weekday slots that would otherwise sit empty. Corporate team-building events work the same way, booking entire tunnels for private sessions at premium group rates, and retail sits right at the exit of every facility. Branded flight suits, video and photo packages of the flyer session, sold the moment the adrenaline and the flight suit selfie opportunity are at their peak. STEM. Education field trips are a revenue category almost nobody outside the industry knows exists, and it's a genuinely clever piece of business design. iFLY specifically markets school field trip programs, built around the physics of flight, aerodynamics, and body mechanics, which does 2 things at once. It fills weekday morning slots that would otherwise be dead time, and it builds a pipeline of future birthday party and family customers starting from age 8. Now let's talk about the cost side, because this is where the wind tunnel business becomes genuinely brutal in a way that surprises people who only see the ticket price. Electricity is the single largest recurring operating cost in this entire industry, and it is not close. Running fans powerful enough to suspend adult human beings in freefall continuously for 10 or more operating hours a day consumes an enormous amount of power. This is fundamentally an energy arbitrage business. You are buying electricity wholesale and reselling it, wrapped in an experience at an enormous markup, but only if you keep the tunnel full. An empty tunnel still burns through nearly the same electricity to maintain rotor speed and airflow readiness. Between paying customers, which is the single biggest reason uneven weekday demand is such a serious problem for this business specifically, compared to, say, a movie theater that can simply not screen a film in an empty auditorium. Insurance is the next major cost category, and it is not optional and not cheap. This is a business built around suspending members of the public, including children, in a column of high-speed air. And liability insurance, along with the specialized coverage needed for the equipment itself, represents a meaningfully large fixed cost that does not scale down during slow periods. Safety staffing is layered on top of this. Every session requires certified flight instructors, physically in the tunnel with flyers, not just a ticket taker at a counter. And those instructors require extensive, ongoing expensive certification training, which iFLY itself runs as a mandatory 20 working day program before a franchise can even open. Then there's royalty and brand costs if you're operating under a franchise model. That 8% of gross revenue we mentioned earlier comes directly off the top, every single month, regardless of profitability. Plus ongoing marketing fund contributions that most franchise agreements require on top of the royalty. And equipment maintenance is its own specialized cost category. The fan assemblies, the acrylic flight chamber panels, and the airflow systems require specialized technical maintenance that a general facilities manager cannot perform, meaning you're often paying for manufacturers' technicians to fly in for scheduled maintenance, an ongoing cost most new operators dramatically underestimate in their first year. Let's talk about the actual financial performance, because the real numbers here are more modest than the multi-million-dollar build cost might suggest. According to franchise disclosure data, the average iFLY location generates around $2.4 million in annual gross sales, with estimated owner earnings in the range of $340,000 to $435,000 a year, against an initial investment that can run into the 8-figure range for a large flagship location. That puts the typical payback period at somewhere around 22 to 24 months of strong operation. Assuming everything goes right, no competitor opens nearby, no major equipment failure, and demand holds up across all the slow weekday periods, not just the profitable weekends. This is a genuinely tight margin business dressed up in a spectacular, adrenaline-soaked customer experience. The facility looks like it's printing money on a busy Saturday afternoon with a birthday party in every room and a line at the retail counter. The real test of the business model is whether it survives a rainy Tuesday in February with 3 customers and the same electricity bill as a sold-out Saturday. Let's talk about debt and risk specifically, because this industry has a structural vulnerability that few other entertainment businesses share. A single point of mechanical failure can take your entire revenue to zero overnight. If the fan assembly fails, if the acrylic chamber develops a structural issue, or if a safety incident triggers a mandatory shutdown for inspection, you don't have a backup tunnel to redirect customers to. The entire facility and every single one of its fixed costs, mortgage or lease payments, staff salaries, insurance premiums, keeps running while your one and only revenue-generating asset sits idle, sometimes for weeks, waiting on a specialized part or a certified technician who may need to travel internationally to reach you. Competitive saturation is the other major risk, and it's become a real factor as the industry has grown from a handful of tunnels in the late 1990s to well over 150 wind tunnel locations globally today, with dozens more under construction. Unlike a stadium or an airport, where genuine scarcity of land and permitting protects existing operators, a wind tunnel can, in principle, be built in any market with the right commercial real estate and power infrastructure, meaning an established facility can suddenly find itself facing a wealth competitor a few miles away, splitting a customer base that wasn't necessarily large enough to support 2 facilities in the first place. Here's what makes this genuinely different from a franchise. Like a fast food restaurant, territorial protection from the franchisor is real but limited. iFLY grants franchisees protection from another iFLY branded tunnel opening in their territory, but the franchisor explicitly retains the right to promote and operate similar businesses under different trademarks near or adjacent to that same territory. And independent non-franchise operators are, of course, free to build wherever they want, competing directly on price for a fundamentally similar experience. Now let's talk about what happens when this business model works well, because when it works very well. A well-located facility in a major metropolitan market, with strong weekend birthday party bookings filling the calendar, a robust STEM field trip program filling weekday mornings, and corporate event bookings filling weekday evenings, can achieve genuinely high utilization across nearly every operating hour, turning what looks like a niche adventure sport novelty into a full entertainment and events venue with multiple overlapping revenue streams stacked on top of the same fixed electricity bill. The realistic scenario looks considerably harder. Your local market turns out to be smaller than the feasibility study projected, a common failure point across this entire industry, since a facility's customer base is genuinely limited to a drivable radius. Unlike a business that can serve customers online, weekday utilization never quite reaches the level needed to offset the electricity and staffing costs of keeping the tunnel operational during slow periods. A competing entertainment option, whether that's a new trampoline park, an escape room chain, or simply a shift in what's trendy for kids' birthday parties that particular year, redirects bookings away from you. Meanwhile, your royalty payment, your equipment maintenance contracts, and your loan payments on a multi-million facility do not flex downward just because a Tuesday in March was quiet. Let's talk about what the smartest operators in this industry have figured out. The goal is not to sell 2 minutes of flight time. The goal is to own a fully booked events calendar, where the wind tunnel itself is really just the anchor attraction that justifies charging premium. Rates for birthday parties, corporate events, and school field trips, the same way. A stadium's actual football game is really just the anchor that justifies the naming rights, the concerts, and the luxury boxes. iFLY's own business model, blending recreational flying with STEM education, corporate events, and an all-abilities program built for accessibility, is a masterclass in filling every single hour of operation with a different customer segment rather than relying on weekend thrill seekers alone to cover a set. So if you do decide to build an indoor skydiving facility, here is what you need to understand. You are not buying a wind machine. You are buying one of the most capital-intensive, small footprint entertainment businesses that exists. A multi-million-dollar piece of specialized aerospace engineering that has to run at high utilization across nearly every operating hour, just to cover an electricity bill that does not care whether the tunnel is full or empty. Get the events calendar right. The birthday parties, the corporate bookings, the school field trips, stacked around your peak recreational hours. And you own a business with genuinely strong unit economics and a payback period under 2 years. Get it wrong. Build in a market too small to fill your weekday slots, and you own a very expensive, very loud, very empty tube. The 2 minutes of free fall everyone comes for. That's just the part that customers
see. If you like our style of economics and animation way of explaining, kindly appreciate our team under the comments. If you want a new video on any of your favorite topic, comment below. Make sure to comment and press the subscribe button.
Subscribe now. Don't forget to press that button. Thank you so much.